was discovered in Kansas. 100,000 warriors killed in battle over 2,000 years ago. Professor Walters declared at the time the battle was fought between the mound builders and the attacking Maya Toltec race, striving to wrest the Mississippi Valley from the mound builders. Okay, we're going to look at some more giant burials, and you'll notice similarities to the items believed to be found in Brewer's Cave in Manti. So let's look at those. Montana, 1889. A gold hunter discovered a mysterious cavern. At the foot of the stairs was a skeleton of a man 9'6". Beside him was a copper axe and club. Underneath was a gold plate covered with strange writing. The Moundsville Giants. When the mound was opened, a burial vault was discovered. Giant skeletons were found surrounded by ornaments of various kinds. There was a stone tablet inscribed with ancient hieroglyphics. Another skeleton was wearing pieces of mica on the shoulders, which appeared to be epaulets like soldiers would wear. Gartersville, Mississippi, 1884. The discovery was of the remains of a giant wearing a copper crown. The bodies were encased in a network made of straw. The tomb was covered with large flagstones engraved with inscriptions. So many similarities to Brewer's story. While searching a cave near the Great Copper Canyon in northern Mexico, explorer Paxton Hayes came across 34 mummified men and women. All had blonde hair. All rose to heights between 7 and 8 feet. In the 1920s, Professor Ralph Glidden and his team exhumed nearly 4,000 skeletons of a blonde-haired race of giants. One king stood 9'2", but the average was 7 feet. He found that this highly intelligent, fair-skinned race thrived in the West 3,000 years ago. Among the items found were a thin piece of slate, a map rock showing trails to 4 main burying grounds, while another included trinkets and small stone rings. They also found the remains of a megalithic Stonehenge-era temple. So remember, this was 3,000 years old at the time. Well, an authentication report was done on the little stone ring. You can see it there, right next to the drawing of the tablita, her headdress. An authentication report said, the evidence strongly suggests a manufacturing date older than 1200 BC. It, too, is at least 3,000 years old. So this is Glidden's Museum of Giant Remains discovered on Catalina and several other of the Channel Islands, which, by the way, are known as the earliest evidence of seafaring in America. These photos show Ralph Glidden with a 9-foot skeleton and over 100 skulls. The archaeological method used at the time was quite barbaric, and I'll say no more about that. Tablita headdress, again. We can't miss that one. If you were to Google the word tablita today, you would find it's a Spanish word from the time of the conquest, but that's not entirely true. Among the Hopi, whose language actually descends from 1500 BC, tablita means crown. Pueblo Indian women still wear the tablita for ceremonial dances in remembrance of their ancient ancestors. Here are a couple of examples on Kachina dolls that are wearing tablitas. Can you see those? And according to Dr. James Harris, the scallops and squares are the American Indian sign for cloud altars, which the Hopi and Zuni regard as stairways to the sky or ascension into heaven. I mainly put this one in because I love this picture of these Apache crown dancers. But they represent, according to the Apaches, they represent the ancient mountain spirits of the 4 directions sent by the Creator to teach us to live in harmony. The dance is very, very old, and obviously the Apaches have their own forms of tablitas. It is said that ancient burials of the Southwest rarely, but occasionally, include headdresses and copper bells. And as you can see, there are copper bells there. Now, in April 2015, the Ute Tribal Council met with Wayne May to discuss an ancient tomb located deep within the Ute Reservation in the Uinta Mountains. not far from where we are. They told him the tomb contained skeletons 11 feet tall, with red hair and decorated in full armor. The sarcophagus had a stone lid that swung open like a door. There was a polished granite stone, 8 feet square, with an inscription on it. Many, many records were inside the tomb, including numerous blackened plates of silver. Then there's the Death Valley giants. Inside a complex of caves, Dr. Bruce Russell found giants 8 and 9 feet tall, hieroglyphics carefully chiseled into polished granite, extensive weapons and religious artifacts. He found well-preserved remains of what he called dinosaurs, saber-toothed tigers, imperial elephants, and other extinct beasts. You know what Dr. Russell was doing? He was following up on reports that the Smithsonian had hidden evidence of giants found in Death Valley. You know, people ask me all the time, why? Why was the knowledge of the giants suppressed? Why is this not in our history books? Well, it's a really complicated issue, but the quick answer is manifest destiny. An attitude of prejudice spread among the academics of the Smithsonian way back then. Natives were regarded as nothing more than savages, standing in the way of American expansion. Great effort was made to dispel the so-called myth that a civilized race had existed here, undoubtedly resulting in the tragic loss of some of America's most important history. John Wesley Powell, E.G. Squire, and Lewis Henry Morgan were 3 highly influential men, governing such organizations as the Smithsonian Institution. Both Powell and Squire's fathers were Methodist ministers in Palmyra, New York, in the 1820s when the Book of Mormon was first published. That's an interesting coincidence. These men began what non-Mormon scholars have called the wanton destruction of the ancient history of the mound builder civilization. John Wesley Powell went as far as mandating limitations on how archaeological data could be used, saying, discoveries have often been wrongfully used to connect North American tribes with races of antiquity in other parts of the world. Well, hey, if the shoe fits. And it is illegitimate to use any pictographic matter of a date anterior to the discovery of the continent by Columbus for historic purposes. You see what he's doing? Completely disregarding all pictographic records on tablets, stones, skins, bark, wood, metal. It doesn't matter. If it's older than Columbus, it doesn't matter, he said. The Smithsonian Institute had intentionally suppressed information regarding both American history and the giants. Within their own reports, there are no less than 17 cases of the Smithsonian archaeologists themselves uncovering the giant skeletons. They were given many, many more, yet all of them have disappeared.